I am Uttara Nagchoudhuri. Today I am going to discuss why interdisciplinary sciences do not thrive in India. I am by training an electrical engineer first and then a system scientist. I had my training in US in early 70s, and at that time it was quite a password. Systems engineering was considered useful in all sorts of areas. I was quite sure that when I return to India, I'll be one of the pioneers. But 2 years later, when I returned to India, there was no such thing. There was no place for me, and there was no application for the training that I had. It got me into thinking as to why it is this way. Why the interdisciplinary sciences do not thrive in India. Well, at that time in mid-70s, when I started working at IIT Delhi, with the wisdom of educationists, they had established a number of interdisciplinary centers in IIT Delhi. Biochemical engineering, biomedical engineering, tribology, energy studies, and so on. The experience then was that they throw people from different disciplines together in a center. Somehow they do not mix. They mix like oil and water. Everybody tries to be rooted in their own original area rather than give and take from each other, learn a little from other disciplines, and in the process all of them progress. I'll give examples of, well, first of all, I'll explain what systems engineering really is. Systems engineering is a science which helps you model non-physical systems using the techniques of physical systems like electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, use the techniques of some other areas like computer science, and find optimal solution to the problems. If you are going to build a dam, one way is to actually model it physically using plaster of Paris, create the kind of terrain that you are going to build a dam, let the water flow, and it will give you the area of submergence, but it's a physically created model. As opposed to that, system science creates models which are mathematically created to represent the non-physical systems. Use the techniques of physical systems to get the solutions which are optimal solutions. Very often it is used synonymously as computer systems even now. I'll give you some of the examples of some centers at IIT. Biochemical or biomedical. There was a biomedical group that was already working in the area with the help of AIIMS doctors, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and a professor who was an electrical engineer by training. And for quite a few years the work went on with cooperation of each other. Somehow, after a number of years, the professor in electrical took a leave of absence of 5 years and did his MBBS, just to show the fact that working in a team of doctors and engineers was not enough. He felt the need for knowing it all himself. Similarly, in biochemical engineering, the scientists who were in chemical engineering, chemists, microbiologists, biologists, they're all thrown together, but somehow they really didn't mix and learn from each other for their own gain and for the gain of the discipline. To take an example of my own group in system science, we were a group of people working with a professor, and we worked on different systems. Some worked on education system, some worked on water resources, some on energy, and some on other sciences. And we all worked with a professor, but we rarely exchanged the notes among each other, and we did not know enough about what the others are doing. It was almost like a wheel where there were all the spokes were joined at a hub, but there was nothing like a rim connecting them all. In a project that I worked in, required a team of two. I was originally a statistician, then electrical engineer, and then system scientist, and we needed someone who was an economist to complete the team. Very often the economist stayed only for a few months and ran away because the work was not purely as an economist. So I was told that now that you know all other things, you might as well learn economics. And so I did a course properly in economics, and so again it was all rolled in one. I wonder whether our scientists like Jagdish Chandra Bose or C.V. Raman, were they always working solo? Is there something culturally that prevents us from adopting this way of working in teams? That seems to be the tradition in many fields in our country. Many of our dancers or musicians, they all are solo singers or dancers, and even artists. Very often things like mural are relatively foreign to us. It is only more recently that we have started some of these things like orchestra or ballet are slowly coming into our culture and dance forms, but that's a much more recent development. Of course, just like there is any rule, there are exceptions. If you have ever witnessed Tyagaraja festival in Tamil Nadu, there are people, mass of people singing together very tunefully, which is quite contrary to what we usually witness on 26th of January, where even a motley crowd cannot sing national anthem tunefully together. There is another exception that I can think of. Talking of exceptions, is our film industry. There are all kinds of people, creative people like director, author, dialogue writers, and several of these people work very well with sound engineers, cinematographers, and apart from national integration that it brings about, there are also, all these people work very well as a team, and there the film is born. Of course, all of it is, all the films are not a hit. Some of them are hit and some of them are miss, but that's inevitable. And so are with interdisciplinary areas. 2 or 3 areas where it really seems to work is space science and defense in our country. If many people from different disciplines like metallurgical sciences, thermodynamics, physicists, and engineers, if they did not work together in reasonable harmony, I don't think we could have made progress in space sciences or in defense as we have. Very recently I came across a news that IIT Bombay is going to start a course in health sciences that will combine computer science, data science, artificial intelligence, medical science, and I wish them all the success. Now there might be people who will challenge the very hypothesis that I am putting forward, that interdisciplinary sciences do not thrive in India. Because of their own experiences, they may have quite different experiences. I will be very happy if there are counter arguments or if there are challenges and they can prove me wrong. Thank you.